Hello there. I'm Scotty. You're not. Tubi Horror Weekend 5 continues with Come to Daddy. And I don't mean Hellraiser, because that's what I think of when I hear that. But no, Come to Daddy is a 2019 film starring Shia LaBeouf and Stephen McHattie, where an estranged uh, Elijah Wood plays Norval. Couldn't give him a normal name. Norval, who goes to visit his estranged father after getting a note from him. And when he gets there, weird things start to happen. His dad suffers a heart attack, and then even after he died, weird things continue to happen, and it leads to some weird things. So, yeah. And there's no preludes to this. It just starts with Norville walking up. He has a map trying to figure out where his dad lives. And when he answers the door, it is Brian, played by Stephen McHattie. And before you correct me in the comments, I know. Just let me get to it, okay? Just let me go through the plot here, okay? I don't want to. Well, actually, his name is da-da-da-da-da-da, and he's da-da-da-da-da. Just wait, okay? I know. And so he starts to bond with his dad, with Brian, and we find out some things like he doesn't drink alcohol because, or Norval doesn't drink alcohol because he got really bad. His alcoholism got really bad, and he tried to off himself, tried to kill himself, and so that was no good. And then he seems to get angered by this, does Brian, and then he hears strange noises like Brian yelling at someone. You hear the name Jethro, And then next day they go out for a swim, and Brian throws a rock at him in the water, and he sort of stands there. And he gets up and he's confused. And then the next day they have an argument over what happened, because he keeps asking his dad why he left, and why he wrote the letter, why he asked him to come there, and he refuses to answer. And this is where the movie takes a turn. Brian has a heart attack and dies. So he calls his mom, who says she's on her way. Remember that. She says she's on her way. Because I have an issue with this film, and it's something that, And so then he calls the proper authorities. They come in. There's this cop that thinks that bad people have raisin eyes. I don't know what that's supposed to be. But then Norval sort of hits it off with the coroner lady, but there's really nothing there, although I think there could have been. I don't know. But he keeps hearing noises and he freaks out, so he goes back to alcohol. He gets drunk and he ends up calling Gladys, is her name. And really, if you listen to this phone call, he's not trying to seduce her. He's not trying to get in bed with her. He's scared. He's going to try to commit suicide again. He doesn't want to be alone. But he's too drunk to try to explain that to her. So he just comes off as creepy. And the next day he wakes up in bed with his dad's corpse. Because there's a thing where apparently the director wanted to do it this way, where they can take him and embalm him, but the morgue is full, so they had to take him back to the house. If that was the case, I would say cremate him first, put him in an urn, and then bring him back. Forget about the other stuff. Cremate him. But no. No. Then it's the next day that he hears the noises. He keeps hearing the noises, and he finds this little secret room with some pictures of he and his mom and his dad, who's a completely different person in these pictures. I mean, different person. And then he hears the noise again. And he finds his real dad handcuffed underneath the secret hatch in the living room. Yes. So the guy he met, Stephen McHattie's character, is not his dad, Brian, but a guy named Gordon. And then he also mentions that someone else is coming here. They hear a noise, and he tells Norval to hide and to take a dumbbell and kill this guy when he comes down. This introduces us to Jethro, one of the most entertaining characters in this film. And he comes down, and Penny's been torturing. He's got a pen that he has in human excrement. He says excrement, but that's not a word. Human excrement, and he's instead of to infect human infection. I guess a staph infection. I guess you would get from that. I don't know if you die from it, but maybe. I don't know. But finally, Brian has enough. The real Brian, I should say, has enough, and he yells at Norval, who tries to attack and kill Jethro, but to no avail. And then Jethro takes off and says he'll be back. He notices that Gordon is dead. He says he'll be back with a friend, and yeah. So Brian decides that Norval needs to help him get out. Tries to use the shitty pen. That's what he says that he can find. But it doesn't. He can't get it to pick the lock. So he has him try to break his fingers. And then but when that doesn't work, they realize, oh, it's just kind of hung up to the wall. So they just take it off, try to get him out of there. And during this, though, they kind of reminisce on what happened 30 years earlier. Brian took off and went to Bangkok with his friends Jethro, Dandy, and Gordon. And they kidnapped the daughter of a Chinese diplomat, I think it was, and held her for ransom. And apparently that money was used to fund Norval's childhood. So, yeah, he was helping out, from a distance. There's more added on to this story with the mom, but I don't know it's really necessary for that to be there. But, anyway, it's later. You go to leave, and Norval has to use the bathroom, but he finds Dandy in there, and they have a fight. He beats him with some saran wrap, and then covers it around his face, suffocating him, but also smashes the hell out of his face, killing him. And then when he and his dad go outside to leave, Jethro comes back. And Jethro has brought a flaming crossbow. Yes. And so Jethro then comes out with the tag. You can't find them, they're hiding. Comes out with the tag that's on Norval's luggage, and says, there's an address on there. It says, I'm going to follow this address and I'm going to kill who's ever there, which would be Norval's mother. Except she wouldn't be there. See, that's the whole rest of this movie is Norval tracking down Jethro to stop him from going to the address and killing his mother. However, I feel like whoever wrote this movie forgot that they put in the plot point that they put in earlier that she was on her way there. So even if Jethro found the house, by the time he got there, she would end up there. She was on her way there, but she never shows up. She never makes it. And we'll discuss how this would affect the ending, because I have thoughts. So he follows Jethro into town, where Jethro, even though he said he's going to follow the address on the tag, he decides to hook up with a sex worker named Precious, who specializes in using her thick arms to strangle people for pleasure, I guess. I guess that's a thing. But he tries to sneak in, and instead of just having him sneak in and then there be an attack and stuff, he goes into this room of swingers, and they just had to have him step on something, wake them up, and cause problems. It doesn't do anything, doesn't add anything other than there's too much noise when he opens the door. He could have just snuck in and went in. Like, he has the key, though. Why didn't he just open the front door key if he's going to be like that and go in? I don't know. They can be quiet. I don't know. But It's where the Precious grabs him and holds him while Jethro stabs him with the receipt spindle that he took from that Norval took from the thing, and stabs him through the mouth. And so she thinks that she's an accessory to murder. He doesn't care, and he's ready to take off and kill the mom. Right? He's like, he says this thing. I don't remember what it was, but uh, he doesn't get far because Norval stabbed his uh, tires with the thing. He punctured it. Norval comes out and finds it. He crashed, and he's not in the car, but he's walking with a piece of his brain sticking out. Once your brain is exposed to air, you die. There's no walking around. And then Norval stabs him in the brain, and he yells out, "Arthur!" Who is Arthur? But during this walk, he explains that Norval's mother was a prostitute that not only did Brian have sex with, so did he. And I thought it was going to be another twist where, oh, he's actually his daddy. And Brian didn't know it. No, this doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't add anything to the story at all. It's just nothing. You know. So then Norval makes it back to his dad's house. And he collapses next to him on the beach. And it's supposedly they died together. But I watched the dead meat kill count on this, and James doesn't think he died. And I don't either, because the filmmakers, people who wrote this and filmed this, seem to forget one important plot point set up earlier in the film that they never go back to. The mom was on her way there. I said it earlier in this review. The mom was on her way there, which means that not only would it have been fine if Jethro had made it to that house, because no one would be there except really maids and servants, which would be a loss, but the mother is more important, I guess. The mom would have made it to where they are. And so my thought process is they're laying there dying, and just as you think it's over, the mom shows up, takes them to the local hospital, and saves at least Norval. I don't know about Brian's infection. I don't know. I mean, if the infection is lethal, then yeah, but if it's not, then maybe Norval is worse for wear. I don't know, but I have an issue with of ending the movie with all the characters dying. Found footage does all the time. That's fine, but it seems to me in regular movies like this, it seems like they just said, "Oh, make sure they're both dead by the end of the film," because they don't know what to do with them. So they come up with this. It's very plausible that we could have ended this in a hospital room. Brian he collapses, he wakes up, and he's in the hospital room with his mom, who got there after he passed out, and took both him and Brian to the hospital room. You can have the cop from earlier show up. And there could be a conversation. He's like, "So that's your real father then?" Yeah. That guy from earlier? No, the guy from earlier was a criminal. Told you he had the raisin eyes. Something like that. He could have had a wrap around. I don't know. It just feels like it needs something more, this ending, you know? But I'm going to give it the middle of the road. I liked it for what it was, but it wasn't, it wasn't mind-blowing. It's certainly well done. It's certainly a well-done film. But it could have been better. But, I like it. So, I haven't hated any of the movies I've done this weekend. And that speaks more for this one I've done than the last one. Remember, in my Tubi Horror Weekend 4, I purposely did so bad it's good horror films for the most part, except for Hell Night. And there was an interesting experience. This time, though, I think it's a better experience. So, yeah. So, But in the spirit of keeping this, something else came along and so it wasn't a movie specifically, but I watched the kill count. After the kill count, it went to the next video, which was their Dead Meat podcast review of Tremors. And they start, she's like, Kevin Bacon, it's Kevin Bacon. And I'm just like, Kevin Bacon. There's a Kevin Bacon horror movie on Tubi right now. Hollow Man, which I guess would be my next one. I just picked this one because I needed the next one. What do I do? What one do I do? Come to Daddy. Let's do that one. Well, it led me to this one. So, look forward to that. So, until next time, thank you for watching. What are your thoughts on Come Daddy? Come to Daddy. Not Come Daddy. That's a whole different movie. Come to Daddy. Comment below. Comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.